Yeehaw, Helldivers! Today we're going over the Cowboy Warbond.
Climb this mountain, you're gonna fly on top of this Bile Titan, and you are gonna take him out, Thick. This is what you were born to do, Thick. This is the moment, Thick. This is the moment. Keep fighting. Do it. Do it. Oh my God. Please. Yes. Let's go. That was epic.
All right, first weapon in the Warbond, the Deadeye Marksman Rifle. This marksman rifle is very specialized and requires very high precision. I found it somewhat hard I found it somewhat hard to aim. Maybe my aim on bots is rusty from playing the Predator strain for so long, a week or two in a row. But I believe that the weapon sway is affecting this gun actually when you're scoped in. It's not super obvious at first, but this gun is kind of hard to aim. It took me a few games to get the hang of this weapon. If you were on stream the other day, I was struggling a bit with it, but I did hop into a solo game off stream this morning and just kind of practice with it. And I do think I got the hang of it now. But once you do get the hang of it, it absolutely does slap like a truck. It's medium pen, 300 damage, 100 durable damage. It only does fit 8 bullets in its chamber, but it is also rounds reload and you get 60 ammo total, and it does have a fairly slow reload speed. What's nice about it is it has insanely high stagger, so if you do miss those shots, then it does stagger the enemy so that you can get a follow-up shot. Now, what I've found is that you need to really sit completely still when you shoot, then it can be deadly accurate. You know how when you're in third person and you have that circle reticle swaying around and that's like your weapon sway? It sort of shows you where the bullet's really going to go while you're moving. Well, when you scope in, you don't get that circle anymore, so it's not really telling you, and it is actually kind of hard to shoot scoped in, especially if you're moving, so you do want to sit still anytime you can. I'm not sure about this, but I do also believe that the bullet has a smidge more travel time compared to the other marksman rifles, because I do play with the Diligence and the Diligence Counter Sniper, both of them on bots quite a bit. And maybe I'm completely wrong here, but I did find that I was hitting far more shots this morning when I played that solo, when I was accounting for a little bit of movement. When the bots are walking back and forth, I would shoot it right as I imagine the bullet meeting up with their head swaying. So I do recommend crouching or going prone for any shots that you can, because prone and crouch both make the sway of any weapon in the game settle a lot faster. And if you're in a hectic situation, fire a couple shots out just to stagger enemies, and it is useful just to stagger enemies if we're being honest. So other than that, this is honestly a fine bot weapon. I do think that the DCS is better on bots than this one, due to the fact that you don't really need the extra damage compared to the regular DCS, and the regular DCS just does have much more ammo in it. But on the other hand, the Deadeye is absolutely one of the better weapons when it comes to the squids. Mainly because the Deadeye has enough damage compared to the DCS to actually just one-tap overseers with a precise headshots. Now, one of my favorite loadouts for squids was the DCS, the Senator, and a Stalwart. So the Deadeye is just straight up going to be replacing the DCS in my squids loadouts. And just to top it all off, it is also a premium swaggerful weapon for anybody who wants to feel like a real cowboy shooting a lever action. The design of it looks really cool, and it feels really, really fun to shoot and really, really fun to play with. Okay, so now for the Hoverpack, and this is the item that absolutely carries this Warbond. Not only is it just one of the most fun items in the game, but it is actually insanely powerful. One thing worth pointing out is that, remember back in the day when everyone was saying Space Marine 2 would kill Helldivers 2? I think the devs got offended by that and decided to give us a better assault jump pack than Space Marine 2 has to offer. You play the assault jump pack during the campaign of Space Marine 2, you get to shoot your guns while flying, and then as soon as you load into the PvE mode, you can't do that anymore. I don't know why the Space Marine 2 devs were thinking that, but the Helldivers 2 devs got our back, because this is one of the most fun and satisfying items to use in the game. The Hoverpack gives you much higher verticality compared to the regular jump pack, actually allowing you to get onto high mountains, but also just creating some insane weapon synergies. This is truly just a very powerful item, possibly one of the best backpacks with the flamethrower. And on the bug side of things, that's what I have to say about it. The funnest weapon and the absolute most insane weapon has to be the flamethrower to use with this. And that's because if you didn't know it, but flamethrowers actually have some pretty insane damage fall off. meaning it does more damage the closer that the enemy is to the nozzle of the flamethrower. So the Hoverpack allows you to jump up, dodge a Bile Titan spit, and absolutely demolish Bile Titans in mere seconds.
Thanks, Keppa Whip a tea.
Wow.
Maybe daytime plays. I want to see.
Now, personally, I just love pairing this with the Eruptor. The Eruptor is an explosive shrapnel weapon that you definitely want some distance between you and your enemies. So you jump up on your Hoverpack, you just put a bunch of distance between you and your enemies, fire off your Eruptor. The Eruptor also has AP4, and, you know, the Bile Titan Flamer kills aren't always the cleanest thing in the world. But if you spray a Flamer at a Bile Titan and it doesn't finish it off, it definitely left them really low, and you can hit them in the head with the Eruptor just a few times, and it'll probably take them out. I did that a couple times when I was playing this combo. Yeah, Eruptor's nice. The Eruptor can also close bug holes, so it is just simply a good pairing in this loadout. All right, let's talk about the bot side of things, because when I watched the trailer for this Warbond, I was actually pretty worried that you would jump in the air on bots and get lasered out of the sky. But to be honest, I used it, and it seems like they're not super accurate when you go vertical and you're floating around with it. Now, the Hoverpack still isn't as awesome on bots as it is on bugs, for that matter, because you will quickly realize that you're not super accurate while hovering, and the bots do require some precision, and that is unless you bring an arc thrower. Now, the arc thrower is not the best weapon ever on bots, but it is viable, and it is honestly pretty good. But one of the problems the arc thrower has is arcing over terrain or arcing over dead enemies. And this is something that Elevation just straight up fixes. When you are above enemies, you pretty much have no problem arcing to whatever enemy you are aiming for. And I just think that this is a really unique pairing. I'm actually going to bring the arc thrower to bots a lot now, because it did feel, you know, arc thrower is not the best weapon against bots, but this combo felt powerful. The arc thrower fixes the problem where you need that precision on bots because you're not aiming the arc thrower, it's just auto arcing. And then the Hoverpack fixes the arc thrower problem because with Elevation, you get more consistent arcing. So they actually just straight up help each other out. And again, on the bot side of things, I liked pairing this with the Eruptor. So Eruptor Flamer for bugs, Eruptor Arc Thrower for bots. One thing that's really cool, though, is you stun a group of enemies, like a group of Devastators with the Arc Thrower, quick swap to the Eruptor, and just blast that group, put shrapnel into all of them, swap back, arc them again, and just go back and forth. Whether you're in the air or not, it's just a good combo. All right, now for squids, I think the only thing worth noting with the Hoverpack is that hovering through the city maps is just even better than jump packing through them. Because what's nice about jump pack on city maps is getting on top of high buildings, but you can't always reach the highest buildings. Well, with the Hoverpack, you can. So, and that's just going to go for any city maps now that they're on all factions. Hoverpack is literally S tier in drip and fun, and it's S tier in the power level of this thing. It's actually just an insanely powerful item to use on top of just being one of the most fun. All right, let's not forget about our trusty deputy, the Talon, a laser-based senator that can fire rapidly 7 times and then it's overheated, or you could fire it rapidly 6 times and put it away to let it cool down, or take some slower pace shots and it doesn't overheat fast at all. It has a very quick cooldown. Personally, I just think this is a bot weapon, given the amount of bugs and vote lists that, you know, kind of spam you and you kind of only get 6 rapid shots before cooling down. I can't see myself bringing it on those factions too much. It's not horrible against them, but I just really think it's a solid bot weapon more than the other factions. It one-taps small bots, it can one-tap Devastators, it can one-tap Rocket Strider rockets. What's nice about it is that I can pull it out, panic spam 6 shots at a Devastator head, and I pretty much know one of them will hit. Then put it away, let it cool down, and bring it back out when I need it. It also just basically has infinite ammo, so I can just waste it on the small bots, because I don't always want to waste my powerful primary or support weapon on small bots. But in general, I really like it against bots. Now, I've seen a lot of people say when I was streaming that it doesn't replace their Senator, and I agree, it doesn't replace the Senator. What I think this replaces is the Verdict, if you are a big fan of the Verdict pistol. It feels and performs very well in a similar role. It's just like a medium pen secondary that does some pretty good damage and deals with the mobs very, very well. One thing worth noting though is because it's a laser, it doesn't actually have high durable damage. It only has 20 durable damage. So that's also why I think it's more of a bot weapon, because their weak points aren't durable. All right, so let's just quickly talk about the Dynamite, because it's not super great at anything in particular besides killing some mobs. You can line it up to deal a bunch of damage to chargers or tanks, or throw it between a Hulk's leg or something and damage the heat sink. But at the end of the day, it's not really taking any of the spot of the top grenades, which is gas grenades and thermite. It is worth noting that it does have the largest blast radius out of any grenade. So like, it is fine for mobbing. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just not like super notable or super special. And the only use I could think of for the 60-second timer is to do some sort of meme stealth setup, like set up a bunch of dynamite with 60-second timers and then run away and let them explode and let the enemies deal with it. But it is worth noting that enemies do get triggered when you throw grenades. Now, there is a bug in the game when it comes to stealth, where if you are the host, you will always alert the enemies. But if you're not the host, there's a bunch of weird times where you can get away with some stealthy things. Now, I actually didn't try this with the Dynamite yet. I will be exploring this on stream later tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to try this out with a Dynamite later. I'm not actually sure if it's going to work. I just figured I'd throw that out there for anyone who did have this idea. Try to do some sort of stealthy stuff, but just don't be the host. All right, so now onto the armor. This is some of the drippiest armor yet. Honestly, the drippiest cowboy armor is not even in the Warbond. It's the one in the Superstore. The light cowboy armor is just clean with the collars and the sheriff star. That one's not even in the Warbond, it's just in the Superstore. I do actually really like the Lawmaker helmet, the gray one. I'll put it on the screen. The gray one, I actually do really like that helmet as well, so I probably will be wearing that one. Personally, I can't say much about the capes because I do have, you know, my few capes that I really like, and these ones don't really tickle my fancy, but that'll just come down to preference. So as for the actual armor passive, buffing your secondaries like crazy, giving them much faster reload speeds, much better recoil, and better pullout game. I really just don't think this is super useful. I can't see myself ever picking this armor for the passive. I think it's a pretty trash passive for what it's worth, so this Warbond armor is pretty much only gonna be for the drip divers. Unless someone finds some insane tech, like, I don't know, I'm just even think, like, even with the ultimatum, being able to pull it out faster and reload it faster, like, that's the most powerful sidearm, and I just can't ever see myself picking it just for my ultimatum. So unless there's some sort of tech out there that just I'm not expecting at all, I just do not see the power in this passive. And then quickly for the sample booster, and I mean, this is pretty straightforward. It gives heavy enemies a really, really small chance to drop a sample, and you can only get up to 10 of these. Pretty mid booster in my opinion. But hey, if I ever need samples again, if we ever gotta grind for more ship upgrades, then I guess I'm gonna be using this booster because it does give you up to 10 more samples per game. So I guess that makes sense. It's just one of those things, like, if you need samples, I guess take it because it gives you a chance to get more. But even just the fact it's capped at 10, it's like, eh. All right, so overall thoughts on the Warbond. It is honestly only like a 6 out of 10 in terms of actual use case and effectiveness. The only actual like super, super powerful item is the Hoverpack. And, you know, the Hoverpack is insanely powerful, but it also might just be one of the most fun items in the game. If not for that, I would have given this Warbond like a 5 out of 10 in terms of like power level. You know, this Warbond doesn't have any like meta-defining items in it, like the crossbow, the ultimatum, thermite, gas grenades. Those kind of items really define loadouts. Like, you're gonna find one of those items in pretty much all the top loadouts for the hardest difficulty. But in terms of cohesion and drip, it's easily a 9 out of 10, if not a 10 out of 10. I really, really like the aesthetic. The drip is good. The cohesion and role playing, they really did put this together well. It's just that if you're a newer player or don't have all the Warbonds unlocked yet, then I would recommend, you know, go get Democratic Detonation for like structures and heavies and bug holes, and go get the gas Warbond before you pick this one up, because the gas grenades and the gas guard dog makes bugs a lot easier. You know, those two Warbonds like really define loadouts. If you're a brand new player, I really wouldn't recommend picking this one. This one is for after the important ones, when you want to have more fun, roleplay as a cowboy, or use the insane Hoverpack. And so that's my opinion. See you guys next time. I'm out.